say, like the first thing that struck me about Jim, about your work, is like when I walked into the gallery and I heard the 60 hertz, that buzz, and it just like, and and I think what's so interesting to me is like we're all using language in different ways, right? You know, so to me, like that, from our culture, that language we just know it has this historic, right, weirdness, like how amazing, alternating current is, right? It's like
Yeah.
we hear it all around us, and it's very annoying as well, right? I mean, it absolutely is kind of the coursing through. It is the blood going through the artery of contemporary life, right? It's like that's the life structure, right? It's not just our body anymore. It's that's the living, that's the breathing, that's the blood stream at this moment. And so it was like you just recognize it. It's kind of like if you hear radio static, or if you hear something that's like a weather channel, that kind of static, that voice that's telling you about a storm coming. It's like, it's now like when we were ancient people, right? It's like the sky would do that. So I even remember my dad telling me, and all these, because he grew up in Iowa, right? All these things about the sky, the clouds, how you knew what the weather was going to be. My grandma would say, rain before 11. I mean, rain before 7, clear by 11. And she'd have all these things about the natural world,
Yeah.
that we were antennas into the natural world, which told us about what to expect with the weather. But now it's all about, we're listening for that voice. There will be a 10 knots, that one voice that goes out over Noah, right, over
Yeah. Yeah. Or looking at weather on the cell phone instead of going outside and seeing how cold it is. It's like we've lost so many of the delivery systems and the way we keep track of ourselves in the world.
when you
Uh,
put when you place that into the environment. It's like right away, it's this language, right? It just like immediately, it's like this marker, that's that it positions the time, the historic time, it positions, or something about it positionally. That same with like navigation. I mean, how exciting, David, your story. I loved how your eyes are just lighting up when you're talking about that story about being on this boat in the ship. The miracle of navigation, right? The miracle, and yet we don't even know we don't know that we don't know that floor. We don't know what's deep below that surface, right? But we've been trying as humans to navigate this, for better or for worse. It's like the landscape of all these problematic histories, but it's like this, yeah, this thing about navigation. So then when you are using that data to, it's such a physical quest, human quest thing, right? That we are all quite familiar. Just you place it, and then we know, right? It's like there's something about that story in its complexity that we know.
I I guess I think of it as like seeing the unseen, or attempting. I guess it's an attempt, and I look at all of the works, most of my works, as sort of futile attempts in that way, like failures. And I think in some ways, if it's like attempting to create water, or attempting to create the physical movement of the water, well, that's absurd. I mean, it's a very dynamic, fluid form that's impossible to. And so I look at it as a futile pursuit, I guess, in some ways, but also like I think James was kind of alluding to this a little bit, like as a lament, I guess. Go outside
Yeah.
and see the weather. We don't need to necessarily, like, because I can just check it out here, right? So some of my works, like, I'm thinking about, like, well, what, a possible future, a possible sad future, I guess, or a lament of, like, going outside, which, I mean, I guess in these times, it's sort of vaguely connected, I guess, in some ways. So yeah, I guess I look at them as failure in a lot of ways, but maybe hopefully then it becomes something new, where it's me kind of fiddling with a computer and some robotics and some data and the space and the people that are interacting with the piece. And hopefully then it becomes something new. I hope. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's all that kind of mashed together for sure.
that idea that you're seeing something that you can't see, or right, it's that seeing the invisible is good practice. And when we start living in the world today as teachers, we're being really challenged right now to understand privilege, to understand. Uh, so we're looking all over the place trying to find things we can't see. and trying to figure out and trying to make that part of our daily practice. So I think those kinds of things are really important.